Hello y'all, this is Louie and welcome back to Retrosaurus. This is the first official video game review for the series, and I could not be more excited to bring you one of my favorite 2D Sonic games of all time, Sonic the Hedgehog 3, a game I only recently got my own copy of after all these years. Sonic the Hedgehog 3 is often overlooked due to its late release in the Sega Genesis's life cycle, and has been long overshadowed by Sonic the Hedgehog 2 and Sonic and Knuckles. Sonic the Hedgehog 3...
Oh, no. I said Sonic 3D Blast.
Alright, let's just do a normal episode then. Developed by Sega's Sonic team and headed by Yuji Naka, the first Sonic the Hedgehog game released worldwide in 1991 and quickly solidified itself not only as Sega's new mascot, Rip Alex Kidd, but also as a solid rival and competitor to Nintendo's Super Mario. Although it was itself a 2D side-scrolling platformer, the Azure Needle Mouse had a distinctive style, attitude, and most importantly, speed. The speediness of it, or at least the illusion of speed, has always been a defining identity for the Sonic series. This was intentional by design to help differentiate itself from the more slower-paced, methodical platforming of games like Super Mario, Mega Man, and Castlevania. That being said, the games were not always as fast-paced as many of us remember. Childhood memories are not the best source when it comes to accurately portraying the quality of something, y'all. I'm looking at you specifically, Tomb Raider fans. You have really bad taste and it's never been good. In addition to multiple themed levels and tricky bosses, the Sonic games also included many special stages that could be attempted if you gathered enough rings. Completing one of these bonus levels netted you a Chaos Emerald, and collecting all of them would turn our edgy blue blur into a totally not Super Saiyan version of himself, complete with golden fur and increased speed. Each game had their own spin on how bonus stages would play out, and some were definitely better than others. While every game featured Sonic as the main playable character, Sonic 2 introduced Tails Miles per Hour, a two-tailed flying fox with a pun named so bad not even I would have suggested it. Sonic and Knuckles soon after introduced the titular Knuckles, a red echidna who could glide through the air and climb up walls. Additionally, Sonic and Knuckles included the ability to lock on Sonic 2 and Sonic 3 cartridges to allow Knuckles to be selected as a playable character, radically altering how you play through each level. An additional, often overlooked title named Sonic CD was released for the Sega Mega CD and introduced higher quality sound and visuals at the cost of much longer loading times. The game is a bit of an oddball as it introduced unique gameplay elements such as Super Peel Out, which let players build up dash speed without turning into a spiky little ball. I don't know why you would do it, but it did look really cool. I'd love to show more gameplay from this particular game from the original hardware, but my Sega CD broke as I was recording footage and I'm still distraught and waiting for the sweet release of death to free me from this mortal coil.
I broke your Sega CD.
Sonic Mania would revisit all four of these titles, most specifically Sonic the Hedgehog 2, and combine the best elements of each game with original level design to make a definitive 2D Sonic experience. Now that we know a little bit about Sonic and the gameplay associated with the 2D entries of the series, we can forget everything we learned as Sonic 3D Blast is far different in every possible way. Known in Japan and Europe as Sonic 3D Flicky's Island, 3D Blast is one of the earliest attempts by Sega to bring Sonic the Hedgehog into the third dimension. Sure, they dabbled a skosh with the series in the 3D realm previously with Sonic CD, where the special stages used a hybrid of 2D sprites and 3D environments to explore the added dimension, but it wasn't really the primary focus of the game. It honestly is really amazing what visual effects they could pull off within the restrictions of the Sega Mega Drive, but the first attempt to create a more 3D style Sonic game came with the release of Sonic 3D Blast. It wouldn't be until Sonic R on the Sega Saturn that Sonic would star in a fully 3D game, albeit yet another spin-off. The Sonic series truly had a difficult time finding its footing in 3D, almost never really knocking it out of a park. I know a couple of you are probably reeling and prepping your comments about how great Sonic Adventure 2 is, but go replay that game and you'll see how janky and broken it was. Almost none of the 3D design felt good despite how great the music might have been, and I say this as someone who absolutely loved Sonic the Hedgehog. Look, I even bought Sonic Forces, and I liked it quite a bit. Heck off. Sonic 3D Blast was released worldwide in 1996 on the Sega Mega Drive, aka the Genesis, in addition to a Sega Saturn version the following year. It was developed alongside the then planned true 3D Sonic entry, Sonic Extreme, which sadly never escaped development heck. Instead, Sega re-released the aforementioned enhanced port of Sonic 3D Blast on the Saturn in an attempt to satiate the truly unruly surge-fueled masses of 8-year-old kids who needed their next Sonic fix. Unlike the side-scrolling titles that preceded it, 3D Blast used an isometric camera angle to give the illusion of three-dimensional depth. Isometric perspective is sometimes referred to as 2.5D or pseudo-3D, but those meanings can be so ambiguous and vague as heck. Character models were 3D-styled sprites created from pre-rendered 3D models, not unlike Donkey Kong Country. Environments featured highly detailed and colorful backgrounds to complement Sonic's existing world, and they were quite beautiful. From a visual stance, the game is notably inspired by the Donkey Kong Country series, while remaining distinctly Sonic. The flickies that inhabit the island are actually not original to the title, instead originating from a 1984 Sega arcade game that was later ported to the Genesis that was simply named Flicky. The flickies are an important gameplay element, but we'll get into that here in a skosh. Looking at the game, everything about it just oozes so much 90s style, further complemented by the distinctive sound font of the Mega Drive. Oh my god, I love Mega Drive music. It's hard to not get swept up in the rose-tinted nostalgia rush. The first level alone hit me with all the feels and memories I had as a kid playing Sonic for the first time at a friend's house. I didn't have my own Genesis until well into my teenage years, so Sonic games were always kind of special to me, as there is very few times to experience and play them myself. So if it managed to translate so much of what made the original 2D game so special, why am I complaining this time? Well, let me tell you about this horrid, no good, god-awful, annoying game that Maroxide made me play. By the way, did you know you can request these types of videos on my Twitch channel or on my Patreon? Hey, it's my video, I can self-promote if I want to, heck off. Unlike the 2D Sonic games, whose controls made sense and were easy to pick up and master, 3D Blast went for a complete opposite approach. As the game switched from side-scrolling to an isometric point of view, the new camera angle presented an all-new style of Sonic gameplay, complete with its own challenging jank. The warning signs of Sonic's 3D development were there early on, weren't they? Gone were the fast-paced, pixel-perfect jumps, spins, and maneuvers that made Sonic 1, 2, 3, CD, and Knuckles so memorable and fun. Instead, we got this awkwardly controlling, slow-as-molasses paced faux 3D design that required the most tedious amount of precision to do every basic aspect of the gameplay. First, I want to remind everyone what the standard Genesis controller looked like. It's a D-pad, 3 face buttons, plus a start button. That's it. A 6-button fighter pad does exist as well, but it was relatively uncommon, at least in the United States. Not that it would have really helped all that much. Controlling 3D, or even pseudo 3D, with precision is very, very difficult with the D-pad. Just ask everyone who played Super Mario 64 DS. But this game somehow expected players to make their way through some of the most obnoxiously designed levels, requiring exact movements with one of the least responsive input methods. Let's just get to the core gameplay loop. The gameplay loop is very simple. Find and kill badniks, rescue all the flickies, return them to the large ring goal. Additionally, you can collect rings which serve as bonus points and currency in addition to your life bar, as well as using the collected flickies to reach Sonic medals. Although Sonic is the only playable character, you will come across Knuckles and Tails in each level. Giving either one of them 50 rings allows you to attempt a bonus stage to earn a Chaos Emerald. After several games of multiple playable characters, it was kind of sad to see these two relegated to optional areas of the game. While the core gameplay loop is fairly basic and easy on paper, the biggest issue stems from the controls and level design. As I don't want to be completely negative about the game, let me start out by saying that the levels are mostly all very pleasing on the eyes. Well, some are less appealing than others. But overall, I do enjoy how they translated the same feel of the original art style into this new one. My biggest complaint about the level design is, well, their mechanical design. The first stage eases you in with a false sense of familiarity before quickly pulling the rug out from under you with a bunch of heckin' bullheck that makes you question what exactly was going on over there at Traveler's Tales. Oh yeah, this wasn't even made by Sonic Team proper. They were too busy working on Sonic Extreme, and you know how this one worked out. So they outsourced this game and we got what we got. Interesting side note, one of the lead developers named John Burton released an unofficial ROM hack of Sonic 3D Blast a few years ago that restored some missing content and improved the controls. So that's a thing, I guess. Each new level has some sort of gimmick barring the first stage that kind of keeps the game feeling fresh while also very frustrating. For example, in the second level they introduced fans to make Sonic spin around like a ballerina, which you would use to guide him into certain obstacles to make progress or open additional pathways. Unfortunately, moving our little blue friend here is harder than it looks. Bumping into walls can cause you to ricochet or bounce around, often hitting enemies, laser beams, or just plain spikes. Like most Sonic games, getting hit causes you to drop all of your rings, which would be fine if this didn't happen every single time you were trying to get to a bonus stage. There are a finite amount of rings in each level, and sometimes it's complete bullheck when you lose them. As this is Sonic 3D Blast and not a good game, you also lose the collected flickies, who then bounce around in all different directions like those screws you took out of your Sega CD you dropped on the floor by accident when you're trying to fix it.
I broke your Sega CD.
The controls are so awful. I just don't understand why they bothered to make the game in this style. Sonic runs so ungodly slow. From a standing position, he requires a bit of startup to accelerate, you know, like a car. But unlike a car, turning him is a titanic feat. All of the levels resemble Marble Madness more than anything else, with the dips and peaks of the floors make precise movement nearly impossible. Couple that with the platforming and no way to gauge distance makes for an incredible, unsatisfying trip down memory lane. After a couple hours, I figured that this had to be better on Sega Saturn with the 3D pad, and I wasn't completely wrong. Luckily for me, I have a pseudo Saturn cart loaded into my trusty and dusty Sega Saturn, so I figured it was worth giving the benefit of a doubt. This version is a significant improvement over the original. Obviously, the visuals are far superior, the music is clearer and more detailed, and the 3D pad gives a bit more added control that was missing in the previous game. Unfortunately, it's still Sonic 3D Blast at the end of the day. The major complaints about the game still exist, though the game is a couple skoshas more fun than its initial release ? I am happy that there is somewhat of a better version of this to play, but the load times of the Saturn plus the janky feel of the 3D pad don't really make this a must play, just a must have for anyone who collects Sonic or Sega Saturn games. Some of you may be thinking I am being far too harsh on this game as it is roughly 24 years old now, and you might be right. This is the first time I've ever put any real time into it outside of the day I bought it, which was like sometime back in like 2005 or 2007, I don't remember anymore. And if I do recall correctly, I didn't care for it much then. But I will say from a personal and a historical gaming point of view, I find its existence fascinating, even though it's kind of one of the worst Sonic games I've ever played, and I have played nearly all of them, so don't even try to invalidate my feelings. It is really cool to see how Sonic first attempted to make the jump to 3D. In a way, Sonic 3D Blast needed to walk so Sonic R and later Sonic Adventure could run. Not many other franchises have the same troubled history or levels of experimentation that Sonic has. Each new game, for better or worse, more often worse than better, tries to reinvent itself and push the boundaries of what the series can pull off. Sega in general has always had that feel about them. It's one of the many reasons I absolutely love their games. I have so many fond memories of playing the Genesis at a friend's house, leading up to me buying my first Sega console of my very own, a used Dreamcast from a retro store in town when I was in high school, and I was obsessed with it for so long. I know it's typical and cliche to say at this point, but I really miss when companies like Sega tried harder to experiment with gaming, as it's kind of something that doesn't happen anymore. Look at Nintendo, look at Sony, look at Capcom even. Experimentation really isn't in their vocabulary anymore, or they just roughly are aware of it enough to the point where they can claim something is new, but ultimately it's just an amalgamation of other companies' work. I hope we can see the return of this style of experimentation from larger franchises and not just indie games. But until then, I'll just sit here in my office, surrounded by retro games, and order yet another pair of rose-tinted glasses as these are starting to lose their edge. Well, that's it for me. Thank you so much for watching this episode of Retrosaurus, and thank you once again Maroxide for requesting this video. Now, if you're part of my Twitch community or even a backer on Patreon at the $10 level, you can request a video like this once a month. There are links in the description to both places if you're interested in joining. And make sure to check me out on all social networks at KyoryuHunter, which is much easier to spell than it is to say. And once again, my name is Louis. Thank you so much for watching this episode of Retrosaurus, and I will see you next time. Goodbye.